Hey, what's up, guys? This is my VOD review for SMP versus SCA.
Yeah,
And I've been told that I do not have
In terms of fantasy, I also
the
hope it helps
comms
me as
for
well
one of our
because I
players,
am playing. I
but
need
that'll
only
be
like
okay.
5 or 6 points if I'm playing the Saints defense, and
Oh,
I
no.
had and I'm playing Marquez Callaway. So
Oh,
You guys talking about fantasy football? What's going on here, guys? You don't have that
0
much
points,
time.
so I'm over the season. I'll be 2 in like 5.
Okay, so I don't.
Quickly, can you play where Jet's playing?
So I don't hear any strats going on. Like the first 15 seconds, guys. I need you guys to get pumped about your games. It's okay though.
And I'm gonna throw my join here.
Okay.
I'll bird B.
Ball here.
I'll bird garage right away. And
Takes forever to break.
Oh, they're actually A.
you don't have to hit the chat while we're in chat.
I'm sorry, it's habit. It's such habit.
No. I do the same thing.
I did 3.
KJ has a turret.
I'm gonna rotate back.
You have it walled.
Oh shit! I didn't make that jump. I thought I would.
Someone stay on B.
Yeah.
Oh, oops, Wild Hill.
It's B.
No, I got it.
55.
They're come out of heaven onto site.
Poison's off.
Planted here. And there's
One
2
minute
to the
first back
right.
default.
Out here with you, Zell.
Here.
Oh my
Kill
god.
me.
One enemy remaining.
Unknown.
He was heaven. She was mid. So somebody watch my heaven as I get to it.
Okay, so one thing I would say is that the moment you guys clear sight, so Sky, the moment you get this kill, one, like, you have a Raze who is, I think it's your Raze, but you have a player who is like unaware of where the last player is when it, like you had 2 teammates fighting her. I basically my point here is that like the comms clearly like weren't there, so I feel like we need to be just calming what's happening, right? Like if there's one mid, Viper, you gotta say it. I know your comms aren't in this video, but you gotta say it. Sky, you came to help. You weren't able to trade out your Viper. But like the moment you like basically gave up on the Astra and you started pushing onto site and you killed the killjoy that was on site, like you need to you got to tell your teammates like what's happening, because if not, your Raze is just like looking around everywhere, right? Like your Raze is like looking like spawn, CT, heaven, like your Raze needs to like look like all 3 entranceways. When you could kind of clarify, where she can and can't be. You saw her go back market, so it's basically 2 options. It's either going to be heaven or it's going to be main. I'm assuming the spike was planted like in that default, like right in the corner of the box, and so the reason why it's so important for your team to know that is because you guys can basically safely diffuse. Sky, like you're kind of watching because of your positioning, like you can basically see if there's an exit out of B main, and then your Raze can be there to swing off of your contact, or you're in a position where if she goes heaven, right, she cannot kill the person diffusing, but you could die to her, which would tell your 2 players on site that she's actually heaven, right? And so your position here, I mean, I know you kind of run off to go heal, which I think is good. I'm glad I'm glad to see that you're a Sky on round 1 buying a heal, because that's like super powerful. Um, but yeah, like your position here is dual purpose, right? Like it's like you can get the information that she's heaven, or you can be first contact for B main. And if she somehow magically makes her way CT, you're also first contact for that, which would allows your 2 players on site to like be able to focus on where they need to focus on, just because you are first contact. But yeah, the only thing that I guess I'm disappointed in is that like you have players who are like totally unaware of where the Astra is, when you also have players who like know exactly where she was last seen. So we just want to clarify that for your teammates.
Unknown.
She was heaven. She was mid. So somebody watch my heaven as I get to it.
Oh, garage.
And so I know that you say that, right? I know that you say that she was like heaven, or last seen mid. But it was just too late, right? Like you shouldn't have your teammates who are alive asking you for information. You should be relaying that information, especially if you died. So it's like at this point, I think you had 2 players that were dead. The 2 players that are dead, like you guys, might be down, but you're not out. Like people who have died and are just spectating, like you guys have information that you can give your teammates. So something to keep in mind.
Stick it.
Oh, it wasn't playing a default. Weird.
Let's
Nice.
go.
There's a ghost to the right. Yeah.
Good first round.
See what we gonna do here.
Um,
Let's use the wall again mid, because they're probably gonna pistols.
So one thing I want you guys to really think about here is that like you have your Viper who has like huge stalling power, right? Your Sky doesn't really have stalling power. Your Jet doesn't really have stalling power. Your Raze has a grenade, and which is a little bit of stalling power, right? But it only stalls for 5 seconds, if that. More like 2 seconds, really. So your Raze doesn't have stalling power. Your Jet doesn't have stalling power, and your Sky doesn't have stalling power. But you have your only 2 members with stalling power, your Sage and your Viper, playing mid. There's a call for your Sage to wall mid, but your Viper is playing mid. Like your Viper is already set up here. And so your Viper, I see you're kind of going for a play, right? Like you have this internal idea of what you're gonna do, but if Sage walls this, like everything that you have planned kind of goes out the window, right? Like your orb is used in market. If she walls that, what are you going to do with your orb? You can't run and go pick it up. So I think for the most part, I think we should separate your Sage and your Viper onto separate sites. Yeah, for the most part, not always, but it's just that like on a pistol round, if that's your plays to wall off mid, because truth is in this elo, the wall is huge. Like the wall, man, people hate pushing that for some reason. I don't know why. Just shoot it down. It's like not hard. But yeah, pistol round, the wall really affects them.
some crush.
But yeah, that's a little something I worry about. So it's like you have a call, like you have somebody calling for you to wall mid. It looks like your Sage is kind of holding it, not gonna
They're all
wall.
there.
And so I guess for me, that's like a little bit of like, hey, your IGL calls this, but we're kind of deciding not to do it. For the most part, it looks like you're right, as in to save it because there isn't anybody there. But at the same time, right, it's not about like who was right and who was wrong, but it is, in my opinion, it's a little bit more about just like, let's get our teamwork 100%, and if we got an IGL that calls a strat, I want you guys to just run that strat, and yeah, basically just the ability to call a strat and for the ability for the team to execute it is something I kind of, I would like to see
I'm
from you
leaving
guys.
Reloading.
Oh shit. She's got a Spectre. I didn't check that corner.
Reloading.
Here, one come back through me, Grant.
For you.
Yeah, Raze was mid. Next field.
One enemy remaining.
Again.
Okay, so your Sage does wall that. It's good. Sage, I think there's actually there's kind of it's not an exploit, but there's actually a way to like jump onto that mid box, and so the way you oh shit, I turned off my monitor. The way you angle, oh my god, everything's broken. Hold on, give me a second. Okay. The way you angle your wall is super important, and I think it's easier to place that wall like that if you play from B heaven. So I think that maybe you lean slightly more B, and then we can push your Viper to lean slightly more A. But like Sage, I think you lean like B heaven instead. But
Mid.
doesn't matter. Eco round
I'm
for
sure
them,
now.
so it's a pretty easy win.
Yeah, she killed. Yep, there she is.
Done.
Damn, I didn't even check that corner.
Excuse
I
me.
thought she was long gone.
Bomb buddy out.
Because I can wall, but I can get back through there.
Viper, be careful with that gas. Bomb buddy out.
Got one.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they're there.
Oh my goodness, it's waiting.
Some.
There's somebody else long.
Wall raised.
Ooh.
Did.
That
Done wall.
wrecked me.
I'm playing back in mail.
I have 8 health. I'm gonna go back a bit.
Hey Viper, have you noticed how the center dot on your crosshair is actually off center?
My ultimate isn't
Do you see that?
They might be trying to come B at this point.
Yeah, they might try to split.
They destroyed my dog real quick. Another one.
Nice.
Okay, so Viper, one thing that a little worries me is that there's a Raze here who is like an immediate threat, right? Like not your Raze, but their Raze, and then you leave. I'm not sure why you left your Raze. I don't know if your Raze said like, "Hey, leave me here" or what, but
KO,
that
think.
that concerns me a little bit. Like it's like you let go of the angle just to leave. Your Raze was in a position where like your Raze wasn't known, but like so you're kind of like you're watching that exit for your Raze, and you let go of the angle to jump into heaven, jump around, and then jump right back, right? So I'm not sure what your intention was. I don't know if you were trying to fake that you were rotating off or what, but I just my point here is just like to do things with the purpose.
He's mid.
At this point, your Raze has basically peaked out here. The moment your Raze clears this little pocket here and clears the really close end of sewers, I think at that point is when you need to immediately push in the ropes and try to support your teammate.
Yeah,
Teammate
2
mid.
mail.
Yeah, they're coming. B.
Doesn't make it. At this point, your Sage is trying to fight this alone. So your Sky is pushing out B main. And your Sage is stuck CT. Like, you guys are slow walking. You guys are slow walking from sewers. You guys need to run your ass
Yeah, they're
over.
coming B, it sounds like.
Your Sky or your Sage is able to get that kill. That's great. Hey, great kill. Awesome it happened. The only thing I worry about is you did it alone. Like you have no teammates there to back you up. I think in a situation like this, you play man advantage, right? And we don't even risk the chance of these guys bouncing back. Because it was a 4v3. We know where she is. I think we can play slightly... I don't want to call it passive. I don't like that term because passive just sounds like you're not taking fights, and it's, I want you guys to take fights when you need to, but I also don't want you guys to risk anything. Sage, you were able to get yourself into a 1v1 fight with the Killjoy. Awesome, right? But what I worry is like, what if it was like all three? You know, what if it was like, what if like this dude, what's his name, KO? What if KO flashes and then like Raze blast backs out, and then you know, and then you got all three of them on you. If that were to happen, then it would turn into a 3v3 situation. When, especially depending on the buys, I'm assuming the opponents have like good weapons at this point, because they should have purchased round 3. That's something a little bit that I worry about, right? Is just I don't want you guys to risk. I want you guys to risk anything, like risk these 1v1 fights, because we honestly we don't want to give the opponents a chance to really make it out, and have a chance to even bounce back. Just I don't know, something to keep in mind.
I think
30
there's at least
seconds
another
left.
one happening.
One enemy remaining.
He was mid.
Spike down
Oh,
B.
mid, okay.
Big damn coming to heal you.
He's ropes.
Oh shoot,
Yeah,
that
got it, baby.
that guy got worked with that Spectre. Good win. Nice, you guys are doing great. Yeah, this is great. So the opponents should be ecoing this round. So because they're ecoing, this should be an absolutely free win for you.
Can someone get this? Thank you.
I like seeing the jet op, round 4. You're buying it at the right time, so that's awesome, dude. Do you see that on my screen?
He bought me quickly.
I don't know why it does that.
I'll take the bottom.
Not getting it. I'm not
Yeah.
getting it
Yeah,
right
you're
now.
buying the op at the right time. This is good. Looks like your Raze likes to get pretty aggressive here.
They just Astra on mid.
Holding a sliver.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Like,
Oh shit. Shit. I got caught with my pants.
They're
down.
saving. I just realized.
Okay, Sky, getting caught with your pants down. Cannot let that happen anymore. Like, you know, yeah. Especially like the Sky, like you got a flash, you got a dog. You know, there's no reason for you to not expect people
Yep,
to
this
be
wall
there.
will be.
oh, they're already out. Already out. That's my bad. I didn't realize. Yeah.
Okay, so this wall, not sure what's happening with this wall. This wall's not working. You know, I'm gonna assume Sage. I'm gonna assume you were probably in ropes. You should be in B Heaven. That's not a hard wall to do from B Heaven. Yeah, so you're playing ropes. I really think this should be the opposite. Jet, you should be opping from ropes, and then Sage, you should be B Heaven. And after your Jet takes the shot, then you can wall. But walling from here, it makes you too vulnerable, and then we missed the wall, right? The wall like was like crooked and crap like that.
Oh, they're already out. Already out. That's my
Yeah,
bad, I didn't
so
realize, yeah.
you guys are getting ecoed. Like this should not have happened.
Oh yeah, I got caught with my pants down.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Fuck.
Kid just hit 120.
Yeah.
So the one thing I worry about here,
Oh, they're already out.
I
Already out.
guess you were molly back. Never mind.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
What I was gonna say is that like you know, like your Sage should be aware that if they've like crossed, right? Like you should be watching that little cross from mid to B Heaven, so that way your B Heaven players are really aware of what's happening.
Kid
But
just hit 120.
Yeah.
but you were smoked off and then you were mollied back. So honestly, they did a good job with that, ensuring that you guys can push out.
Oh.
Okay, Viper, why do you lose that fight? That's not a hard fight.
Kid just hit 120.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing
Oh,
I worry
already
about
out,
here
already out.
is that like you're
That's my bad, I didn't
going
realize, yeah.
waiting for the Raze to peak. Raze doesn't peak, and so you try to push up. You realize you can't get through the hole in the wall, and then you like
Kid
look
just hit
around.
120.
Like you already know you can't fit in there. You don't need to go back and forth in that.
Yeah.
And it's like you back up. You back up, and then it's like you're like, because you let go of that angle, like the Raze walked out, and then like because you let go of the angle, the Raze walked out. You didn't expect it. The Raze was kind of expecting it, you know, which is the only reason I could see why the Raze wins that fight.
Oh.
Last
Sage, you leave mid. Like we know it's B. You leave mid. You should stay with your Viper to support your Viper. There's no reason to leave there. And then I don't know how your Raze dies.
Kill just hit 120.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so in a situation like this, Raze, when we know or assume that there's a threat, be heaven, right? And the site or the like everything's happening on B site. In my opinion, right, and this is where you guys need to work together as a team and kind of decide things. You guys need to decide what is the most important thing to gain control of in order to retake a site. So oftentimes when I think of B site, I think that the thing we need to maintain control of is B heaven. So instead of like rotating to CT, just because like I just don't think we really need to be there yet, I think that your mid players, and so it'd be the Sage Viper and then your Raze, I think you guys clear B heaven together. Worst case scenario, you guys get trades off, but like, you know, even worse case scenario is that like everyone goes for this individual play. Raze, you're already far up CT. Sage, you're too far away to rotate all the way through spawn. You're already with your Viper, playing with your Viper, so there's no reason to leave your Viper. Viper, you are like holding this angle alone instead of just busting down the wall. I think that you guys should just bust down the wall, make sure nobody is mid, you know, like just like clear this little area. I think I have a pen. Yeah, wait. Clear all that crap. Once you clear that, then you can basically proceed into trying to clear B heaven. Meanwhile, you have two pushing this way, you have one swarming in this way. In theory, their Raze, like the opponent Raze, is only good for one, right? As long as you guys are playing how you should, that Raze should only get one of you. If it gets two or three of you, you guys, I don't know what you guys are doing. But if you guys are together, right, at most, their Raze can only get one. But because of the situation, it's like, shoot, like, the opponents, like, dude, they had, like, sheriffs and pistols and stuff, right? Like, they definitely should not be winning this.
Maybe I should just say.
Spike planted.
Yeah, why not?
yeah.
Yeah. You have
I'll try and get a pick.
Because of your money, I think actually it might be worth trying to get some eco damage, but truth is the opponent's saved, so maybe you're better off saving.
It's fucking disappointing me.
Dude, I love a killjoy, my bad.
I will buy this. Click the request. I will buy.
Okay, your guys' money is like hella jacked up. Maybe it would have been worth actually to definitely save that gun and not even go for that engagement. Yeah, your guys, I'm not sure what your guys' money is doing. It's like your Sky is full buying. Your Raze cannot buy anything. Your Jet can't buy anything. Sage, you're able to afford, I think, because that yeah, so this is a rough one. When this happens, I think at this point you guys either save as a team or you guys all force buy. So Raze, you buy everything you can. Jet, you buy everything you can. It could be some cheeky crap. It could be a Spectre. It could be a Shorty. I don't care. But the idea is that, like, if you guys lose this, your Sky and your Viper, they're not going to be able to afford full weapons next round. But Raze and Jet, you guys are. And so what'll happen is if you guys do that, the next round, your Sky, Viper, Sage, well, not your Sage, but your Sky and Viper have to save. If your Sky and Viper have to save, then you guys basically end up playing 2 rounds where 2 of your teammates have like weak ass guns. And so we just want to make sure we keep that kind of in order. Yeah. So hopefully you guys like sell some guns or do something. Either sell guns or like the rest of your team forces up, you know? It's just whatever you guys do, you guys want to make sure you do it together.
They walled walled mid again. Astro walled. Ooh.
Hello?
They walled mid again. Astro walled. Ooh.
Okay, so Raze, you're going for a pretty intense play here. The read was good. So these guys kind of default a bit. So you're kind of guaranteed to run into somebody on A. The only thing that worries me is that you're doing it alone. I don't think I heard you say that you were going to go for this kind of play. You don't have the weapon, I assume. I'm assuming you didn't buy a Spectre or anything. Maybe you did, but it just seems like you're really going for a play alone here. Like your Jet's still in spawn. I really think that you could have either comboed this with the Jet or comboed this with the Sky Flash. Like just imagine how much more powerful like this play could have been, like blast packing and ulting on them if you had like team support.
I'm gonna go away.
They walled mid again. Astro walled.
But like you go for this play,
Ooh.
you don't get a kill with your ult, and then you get opt by the Raze, and there's nobody there to help you, right?
Jet was right outside
good.
the garage.
It's like your team gets kind of eager here.
Hello?
Jet was right
Doing
outside
good.
the garage.
Oof, that's unfortunate.
Dropping back
Oh
off
my
B.
goodness. Beautiful.
So yeah, so I do want you guys to kind of like figure out a protocol, you know, like Sage, you're already with your Jet, but you're leaving your Jet because you feel like you have to take over mid. Because of your Viper fell. Instead of rotating back all the way through spawn, because like your Sky's trying to do the same thing, right? Like your Sky gets a read, it's not B main, sees 3 mid, so your Sky is trying to like re-rotate. But now your Jet's alone. I think that, I mean, it's hard to say because I don't know exactly, you know, how this round's going to turn out. But the only thing I could say is that like we want to play buddy system. If one of your teammates falls, sometimes you need to like take over, but also sometimes you're too far away to really take over, and so you kind of need to adapt. I kind of wonder if maybe the play is, instead of like trying to pick up slack, that's a harsh way to say it, but instead of trying to like adapt necessarily to like one of your teammates falling, maybe you kind of hold your ground where you have ownership. So like Jet, Sage, maybe you guys just continue to hold this A main to ensure like they cannot get A main, because you have like a wall up, so you know you have like strength right here in A. And so you know that instead of like the opponents swarming you like that, you know that basically they only have one path, at least until you hear like an updraft or you hear them break the wall. And so you guys can focus on that. Sage, you can slow ropes or vents in order to give your Sky enough time to like support here. And then at this point we have 3 people basically playing A heaven. And you know, I'd say like it seems like you guys are being pressured A, so there's at least 1 person on A, maybe 2, and so you guys can basically 3v1 or 3v2 this one person that might be on A. Instead, your guys' defense, you're down to 3, and you guys are spread pretty thin. Like if your Sky were to get shot in the back right now, can't be traded. If your Sage, like if you get peeked early right here because of this angle, like if you get peeked by somebody from B heaven, like, and Sage you fall, your Sky can't trade you. If your Jet falls right now, nobody there to trade. And so it's like at this point it just looks like a lot of individual plays.
That was good.
Yeah, so just something to kind of keep in mind here.
Back into the wall now.
Yes. Uh-huh.
1 right side.
I don't think he even shot a bullet.
Shit.
That's unfortunate. So see what's happened is that like Sage, you were with Jet, you know, your Jet is fighting. Like I think was fighting like kind of that whole time. And then like you left to go into spawn, your Jet falls, and then now you're running back, right? So you're doing a lot of this back and forth stuff, and this it's and it's pretty common. So, you know, don't take it the wrong way. Like it's pretty common to have this like this instinct to like, you know, if one of your teammates falls like mid, that you need to like, you know, go handle that, right? Like that's like a very very common instinct to have. But I don't think you guys necessarily need to do that. And or you guys need to kind of learn when is appropriate to do that. Yeah, because I'm thinking you guys could have really just focused kind of like on these A main guys, and then after you guys take care of the A main guys, then you guys can be a little more aware about like, oh shoot, there was 3 mid, they're probably going B, but they could be coming vents, they could be coming CT. Like we need to now refocus our attention, rather than spreading our attention kind of thin and knowing like, oh shoot, there's some A main, just trusting our Jet's just gonna handle a 2v1, and then yeah, basically it's like what I see kind of happened, right? Is that like your Jet falls, nobody's there to help. Now you guys are just way too late, and it's like you guys are in spawn, you know, honestly. Like that's just what I see. It's like, Sage, you're just in spawn, literally just so safe. Like, you know, just it's I don't know how to say it nicely, and I don't know if I even need to say it nicely, but it's just you can't help from where you're at. You're literally in spawn, and then your Sky is literally trying to get to spawn. So I don't know. It's just kind of this weird thing where it's like everyone's kind of switching roles a little bit too much, and sometimes like we don't need to take over for somebody else, right? Your Viper falls mid, right? So Sage, it seems like you kind of had this instinct that like, oh, they're probably gonna go be heaven, so I'm gonna go be heaven, which is, you know, which is totally fair, and it's fine to have these ideas and predictions. The only problem I see is that you left what was an immediate threat. Like there was an immediate threat, B main and or A main, and you left that, you know, in order to potentially cover mid, but you went the long way, right? I'm thinking that like, you know, in this situation you weren't really the person, because your Sky wasn't, I don't think your Sky didn't engage into a fight really, or didn't really have to deal with too much. I think the person that was outside of B main bailed, and so your Sky kind of just knew like, you know, that like, oh, like I'm not really going to be shot in the back here, right? And so your Sky is a person who can kind of like rotate over to you guys and help support mid to make sure you guys don't get flanked, or make sure you guys don't get flanked without knowing about it. But yeah, I don't know. I'll just move on.
Spike planted. Hawk out. Blinded. Good bad.
So here, Sky? No, Sage. A little bit late. Sky, I would like for you to like kind of call kind of what you're doing.
Spike planted.
Sky, it seems like you're pretty comfortable kind of entering, but it's like look how fast and how aggressive your Sky is playing to regain control of A heaven. And then Sage, you're just a little bit far behind.
Could go screens.
I like that comm. Could go screens. That's a good comm. I like on a personal level, I appreciate when my teammates call out like where people could be. Because like sometimes when you're alive and you know your teammates go down, sometimes you kind of forget like, oh shoot, nobody's holding screens. Oh shoot, nobody's holding this, right? And so I like that you have teammates that are calling that out. So definitely keep that up.
Oh shit.
Sky, instead of saying oh shit, or I don't know if that was you who said it, but like instead of saying oh shit, I would like for you guys to call where that opera is, because I'm assuming that opera is probably behind the sign. You guys should calm that. I know your Sky is aware, possibly aware, but your Sage isn't, right? Your Sage doesn't know, so definitely calm that for your team.
Last player standing.
Sage, I've noticed twice now that you've ADS'd. It kind of looks like it's on accident. I'm sure you've probably heard this on like why, like to not ADS, and the reason why you don't ADS in this game. Well, the reason why people say that is because it's not really necessary. The bullet accuracy is like still really high even if you don't ADS, unlike some other games which like don't have any accuracy. In this game it's like pretty high, and then the bullet velocity, wait, no, the speed in which you spray is a lot faster when you don't. And so yeah, I feel like maybe you're ADSing a lot on accident. In my opinion, I think ADSing is, I actually ADS. So when I play, I actually do ADS, but I only ADS like certain angles, really far angles, when I'm expecting to like require like a one tap from a further distance. But when you're like clearing screens or something like that, I would aim to not do that. Yeah, you don't want to ADS, because when you ADS and you start spraying and then you realize they're super close, you can't un-ADS while you're spraying, right? And so you end up like in this really awkward spray battle, and you're trying to control it, but it's really hard to control, especially when you're ADSing. So yeah, just friendly tip. We want to try to avoid that.
Flank. Garage with my might try another. I did get someone in garage with my flash, but I didn't push it.
Thanks.
These
KO,
KOs A.
yeah.
I'm still in there. Ah, shit. I fucked up there. Jet was B again. Might try another A with the long flank.
So there.
Okay, that, oh man, that's so disappointing for me. Okay, well, Jet, I don't understand what you're watching.
Thanks.
These
KO,
KOs A.
That's unacceptable. Jet, you need to be watching something for your Viper. Your Viper is trying to watch two things here, you know? I think a couple mistakes. Viper, focus on mid, right? Because based off of like what you're holding versus what the Jet's holding, like you guys are kind of holding across for each other. Viper, you need to just trust your Sky. And if your Sky needs help, like Sky, call for the help, right? But you need to trust that your Sky is watching B main and that you don't need to try to juggle both. Next to that, I'm disappointed. So it's like you keep letting go of mid, right? And so they could push up this, right, and just bum rush your Jet. And your Jet's going to be like, what the hell, Viper, why aren't you watching it? Especially because you have the one-way set up for yourself. And then I'm also disappointed. It's like, you know, hey Jet, like you're supposed to be like holding this cross with your Viper, and it's like you allowed for people to get into like basically walk up mid.
Shit.
Yeah, so it's a little unfortunate. I don't know if it looks like maybe you got smoked off. I don't know if you're calming that to your team. You know, if you got smoked off, you need to tell your Viper that your Viper needs to be aware of mid, because you cannot see. You cannot see if they're coming up. And then sure enough, it's like your Viper.
Jet was B.
Your Viper's hyper focused
Might try
on B
another
main.
A with the long flank.
Tries to set up a wall for his. Yeah, your Viper's trying to support your Sky, and then gets shot in the back from mid. Like Jet. Jet, I think your angle is too tight. If like you guys just need to coordinate like how you're playing and be able to pay attention to each other's vision cones. If this is how you're gonna play, then Viper, you need to play like rafters or something. You know, something in such a way that like kind of allows them to get to B heaven, but your Jet has the information that they're going to be heaven. So that way, Viper, you know that you now need to be hyper aware. Your Sky can play like backside or something awkward, or under rafter, maybe like hell, right? And could flash for you, that kind of thing. It's unfortunate that to see one of you guys get shot in the back when somebody else was there to potentially gather that information early.
Yeah, Killjoy mid, hit 52.
It looks like we're saving. Jet, if we're saving Jet, I think you should try to use your knives maybe.
Sure.
You should have
I'm
knives.
getting
It's
fucking
round
knives.
5.
I'm
Oh,
I
enjoying
assume
this.
you have knives at
I
this
can
point.
heal you, Sky.
Yeah, I was just trying to get away
Spike
from that
planted.
Yeah,
Killjoy ult.
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Kevin.
She just put her turret up there.
Oh fuck, that's not what I thought it was.
Huh.
That
So, it's like I think I'm hearing just basically a lack of communication, and then you guys split up. I don't think we split up here. Almost, I want to say almost ever. Like, there's definitely times where you need to split up, and that's going to be the most advantageous. But I want for you guys to basically like kind of force yourselves to kind of stick together a little bit, because I think that that's one of the hardest things to do in this game.
Last player standing.
Yeah, it's like they I don't know. It just seems like you guys are just taking turns dying. Where I think that, you know, at least one of you guys could have traded each other. But it's basically, it's not possible when you guys are like splitting up. It's not possible, slash it's just very unlikely.
Ooh, oh, okay. Just immediately?
We could go off contact.
You
A
want
bunch.
Ooh, oh, okay. Well, I'm not going down in there just yet. I'll go with you.
Spike down A.
2v4.
One enemy remaining.
he's in ramps / heaven.
Man.
Yeah, you're right. Say 66.
I'm reloading.
Stop
I
doing
got it.
that.
I got it. Maybe he goes all the way to
Oh, make
screens.
right, you can wrap it. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck it.
No, you're not.
Third footsteps towards me.
Yes,
Oh, that was
bro.
you. I'm gonna hold elbow. Beautiful, dude.
Nice.
Beautiful, guys.
So one thing I worry about a little bit, guys. I don't know if you guys know about this, but so I noticed that you guys like kind of slow peek everything. Like you guys are just like shift walking and slow peeking everything. I'm sure some of you guys realize and have noticed that like there's actually like when you start running, right? So if you're not holding shift and you're just moving, it actually takes like 2 steps before the footstep sounds start, and this was done on purpose by the developers. Like there's a reason for this. This is like common in like Counter-Strike. Like this was, you know, really a part of that game. But you can actually like jiggle and fast peek things without really making a sound. And I think that that's something that'll really make your guys' peaks more advantageous. Because I feel like I've noticed this several times where you guys like kind of slow peek everything, rather than like you can like kind of walk up to the corner, you know, expecting that somebody might peek you, and once you get to the corner, then you can start like fast peeking it without making sound. Something I want you guys to, you know, practice. You can practice it in the range or whatever, wherever you need to do it.
Oh fuck, get up. Nice.
Okay, so money wise, you guys are in shambles. But one of you guys needs to force, and then Sky Jet, you guys need to buy for the other two. We kind of don't have options here. You guys won the round, so you guys shouldn't be saving after that. Like you guys really just have to force yourselves through it. This is something I don't like to see, is that like Sky, you have enough to buy a teammate, and then Sage, you're saving. Like you could get full armor, but you're saving, and then your Viper's forcing a Spectre. But it looks like you have enough to buy somebody, Sky. There's no point holding on to extra money. Like that's the thing. Like there's really no point of holding on to extra money.
All right, I'm gonna
We don't want to waste money, but like that's not a waste. You know, like we are trying to make sure round after round we have like the most advantageous kit possible. In this case, it's like, you know, Viper's got the pit, so I think it's okay, but you know, you should be buying for your Sage. Your Sage has half shield and Ares, right? Just there's no point saving that extra money, especially when you can't really use it.
Okay. Oh, my bad.
Get out of my way.
Astra's in garage. KO's
It's
sewer.
in sewer. Hit 70.
That's cool. Oh, that works.
I could maybe res in this.
You probably could.
Wait, let me get this.
I'm just gonna sit on B for now.
So what I missed. Reloading.
That wall was huge for me to get up into this.
They're running. They're running A. I can hear them.
Running A.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to grab op.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jet, I'm upset that you let go of that angle. You had such a good angle, and then you let go of it.
For me to get up into this.
Okay, so Jet, it looks like you're kind of letting go of the angle a couple times, so I'm a little upset with that.
Hit 70.
Okay, so you thought it was
Oh,
B.
that works.
Sage walls it, and so you come back. So you're holding ramps.
I could
What's a little risky is that, like, you know, technically, like, they could walk out on you, right?
maybe res in this.
B for now.
Okay, so you go back to screens. You're watching the angle. So now you're holding, so that's good.
That wall was huge.
And
for
then
me
you
to
let
get up
go.
into this.
And then, oh, okay, so it looks like you get smoked off, actually.
They're running. They're running A. I can hear them.
Running A.
So I'm confused as to why you smoked off in front of you. Like, honestly, like, you should, in my opinion, you should push through that and push through their smoke, and then just like hold like a really aggressive angle on that, right? Get that first pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to grab op.
So you say something about like you have an op. Like I don't know why you're running off. Like
Yeah.
you with the opper, you are not the clutcher. Like that's the thing. Like imagine like all your teammates die and then you just like sit back and just watch them die because you're trying to save the op. Like I don't believe in that mentality, and it's kind of why I don't like oppers, because I feel like oppers, they tend to not go for a play. Like they feel like they can't push because they have an op, and I just don't believe in that play style. And so I think that you should continue to hold that, because if you're holding that, then your rotators, they don't have to worry about A heaven. Like they can't be in A heaven without you knowing about it. So I think it's important for you to hold that. Letting go of that, I worry that yeah, I just worry that you get timed by letting go of that, and then they start walking out.
30 seconds.
Because like, look, your Vipers are kind of just running
Right
out
around.
like with knives out, and then there's a guy up ramp. What the frick? Jet, if we had never let go of that, this guy couldn't have crossed without you knowing.
Oh,
Screens.
shit. I
Nice,
didn't
nice.
expect them to be there.
Yeah, so this, I don't know. I feel like you guys are getting timed a lot.
Yeah, that quick.
Yeah, because the thing is like, the KO was in sewers, so there was a point in time where like Jet, you lost vision to the cross, and he made his way up in here. Yeah, we just want to be a little bit more proactive with that. You see the two main.
One enemy remaining. Spike down A.
Reloading.
He's in the corner. Oh,
He's in hell. Oh
Nice.
my god.
Good trades.
A little rough, but it worked out.
Some
It's a good call, actually.
KO's there.
The bet. Website. The website. The bet right here.
Yeah, it's a good call, actually. Fuck, I'm gonna be late.
Can you watch and make sure he doesn't? I heard him run back. Killjoy put up her turret, so there's two. Oh, wall if there's.
Oh my lord. 80 on Jet.
I'm mid still, so. Wraith is there too. KO's there.
So Viper, I want you guys just to be a little bit more decisive. You know, this back and forth stuff. The problem with this back and forth stuff that's happening between like multiple of you guys is that like that is when you get out timed, right? Like basically like from our perspective, it's just like they just got really lucky, you know. But it's honestly it's just
I'm mid still,
we keep
so.
letting go of stuff.
Wraith is there too. KO's
It's like you're
there.
watching a main, you come back, you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna put a wall, and then you're like, nope, and then you run back, and then you run back again,
God damn it, I missed my shot.
like just, you know,
Yeah.
kind of confused.
Jet going up heaven.
I'll be honest, this team that you guys are against, their timing's actually pretty killer. Damn, like shoot, they smoked this, they nade that, so you can't come to
There's
help.
one A still, so.
They're kind of killing it.
One went up, just me now.
Yeah.
Jet will have my op now. Or someone will have help.
Last player standing. Spike planted.
Killjoy was. I hit her for 120.
Oh, unfortunate.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm gonna rotate over too quick.
They dropped Spike right outside of garage.
Yeah, I'm gonna rotate over too quick.
Wow. Up in market
What? Nice shot.
on B site.
Yeah, I'm giving up.
Damn,
I'm gonna
man.
push through CT.
Spike planted.
Ah, fuck.
I don't fucking agree with it, but nice shot.
Last
that was
player
weird.
standing.
Yeah.
Very weird. Oh.
Rifle to your right.
Damn, nice strategy.
Okay, so this is kind of in hindsight, really. So I don't like to talk about too many things in hindsight, but one thing, you guys got picked early, and then Viper, I don't know if I've ever really seen you flank. Yeah, I don't think I've seen you flank yet. I don't really recall, but what I worry about is that like in a 1v5, you decide to flank, right? So you kind of give up this strategy that you're a flanker. And I don't want you to like give up that idea. Like you're able to pick off 2, which is like incredible. Like you should not have won that with the Spectre from so far. Especially like this, like you kill the
Yeah,
jet,
weird.
and then the hell you're asked. Oh my, what is he doing? That's embarrassing for them for sure. But my point is that like it's like you're kind of like giving up this idea that like you're the flanker, right? So like if this happens again, right? Like if they don't see Viper Heaven and they don't see Viper CT, like they know you're flanking, right? And so and then next to that with your teammates, it's like, you know, I know 2 of you guys got picked off really early. But the other 2 of you guys, the Sage and then I forgot who else was alive at that point. Oh no, your Raze died mid. And so it was just your Sage. I think that I know you guys are split off on the other side of the map. So at this point, it's like you guys can't really meet up. But I think you guys need to time your push, right? The moment your jet or their jet gets into an engagement, then your Astra is like looking at main, and then honestly, like they're probably calling so Jet's probably like flank, and so like all these guys on B site, they're probably like instantly looking like they're quickly going to look over at B main, or they're going to look at their mini map. So there's a brief moment when they're not paying attention. I want you guys to kind of look at like a pro play, and if you notice like in pro play, like it is freaking chaotic. Like when they fight, they are fighting like they all are fighting at the same exact time, and so it's like super chaotic. So you'll notice like a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, a round will be like in pro play, it's like super quiet, super awkward. Everyone's just like slow walking around and checking little things and throwing utility here and there, but then like they like instantly like when they're all ready, they like instantly explode, and then like they like everyone just dies all at once, and then it's suddenly like a 1v1 or something awkward, you know. I want you to try to time your guys' fights. Like when the guys CT, when you guys are ready to push, like I want you to like call that for the rest of your team, so that way like your people in heaven can start fighting, and you know your person flanking can like initiate the flank, you know, that kind of thing. Because like that timing thing is huge. You know, if we can have like a coordinated planned chaos, you know, it'll really throw off your opponents who are like not expecting like this huge hit from all sides, you know. Yeah, so just something to kind of keep in mind.
Rifle to your right.
And it's unfortunate that the Killjoy is like still behind you. I don't know
Yeah,
how that
strategy.
happened. I guess Killjoy must have been market the whole time.
I'm gonna.
Mid? Or no, I'll stay kind of over here.
Fire in the hole! Here goes the party! I blew you up!
Should I wall?
Okay,
or-
at this point, just I want you to be a little bit cautious about like your running. So it's like your Sky is like kind of quietly dry peeking and pushing B to like not show presence, but then Viper, you're just like sprinting
Did you
No,
say
no,
wall?
no.
sprinting over. So just keep that in mind.
Nice.
Yeah.
One enemy remaining.
She went up mid.
Spike down.
We have bomb. We have bomb. We have bomb.
She got
Ooh.
It's a rough trade.
Get out of
How
my
the
way!
Um,
Wait,
I want you guys to like not give up your guys' position. So it's like you'll notice in pro play, like they really don't make this mistake
Nice.
where it's like you guys are both slow walking.
yeah.
One enemy remaining.
She went up mid.
Spike down.
We have bomb. We
You
have
guys
bomb, we have
make
bomb.
footsteps, you know. Yeah, so it's like you guys made a sound, so the Jet was aware that she was being flanked at that point.
Ooh.
They're standing.
Oh, guys, come on. Oh, that's unfortunate. How did we mess that up?
Ooh.
Get out of my
How
way!
the fuck?
Which way do you
Wall
think
this.
she'll come from?
Was wall here.
Yeah, she was. She's coming.
She
yeah.
sewers. Call it. She sewers.
Last player standing.
What?
Oh no!
That can't be in the VOD review, son. That cannot be in the VOD review.
Oh, it's in the VOD
No.
review, dude. Guys, I don't know.
Oh no.
That's unfortunate.
Like-
I mean, hey, I don't. Oh man, I don't even know what to say. Okay, so I don't like to call out whiffs, right? Like I don't know if I've explained this to you guys or somebody else. But I don't really VOD review whiffs because whiffs happen, you know, like it happens in my games. I whiff all the time. Pro players whiff all the time. Like that happens. I just like to VOD review like mistakes, you know, and like try to explain what people's decision making looks like to other people, you know. And so like for me, like when I look at, you know, some of the decision making that you guys make, it's like it confuses me actually. Like I wonder like what caused you to think that you needed to do this or you needed to do that. At this point, Sky, Viper, like I know you guys are trying to, like, you know, get that jet. It's unfortunate that you guys both whiff, but I appreciate that like Sky, you initiate, and Viper, you try to instantly trade.
Yeah,
Like
bomb.
clearly you tried to trade, you know. Sky pushes up and it's like clearly you tried to trade. You know, you whiff, but you did try to trade. One thing I worry about, Sky, like I'm assuming you've got
We have bomb.
a bird, right? Like the thing is, like, you gave up your element of surprise by running, you know, and you made that footstep earlier, so you already gave up your element of surprise. So there's no point to not flash because like there is no surprise at that point, you know. Like flashing gives away your element of surprise, but making that footstep also did, you know. So at that point, while she heard you and she's probably looking at market because she knows she's getting flanked, like you should freaking pop flash that. That's a guaranteed kill, you know. If it's not a guaranteed kill for you, like there's no way that the jet is able to kill your Viper too. Yeah, see, that's just unfortunate.
Which way do you think she'll come from?
Okay, so Sage, I appreciate you asking your teammates like what, you know, for their input. But truth is, I think that you also kind of like make decisions for yourself too. You know what I mean? Like whatever you feel is best in any given situation, you should do. You know, like I really think that that should be something to kind of keep in mind. And see, like the thing is for me, like I don't like to micromanage people how they need to play their agent. Maybe I like to micromanage like how I think they should play the game, but not how to play their agent. You know, I generally have this kind of concept and idea that is like, hey, like you're here today because like you know how to play your agent at your level. So, you know, I try to just trust everybody to just know their agent and know what they're doing and trying to do the best to their abilities. So I appreciate you asking, but at the same time, I think you should just wash it off, whatever you feel like would make you feel safe, you know?
Yeah, she was.
You hear sewers,
She's coming. Yep.
What?
no comm. You guys are kind of holding across, but sadly we're not able to hit her.
Player standing.
Oh man, that's so unfortunate.
Cool.
Yep, there's another one there.
I don't know who's calling what, but I don't hear any comms. I know that one of you guys, I don't have the voice comms in this recording, but I don't hear any kind of like strategies or anything. Sky, you're pushing solo out B main. The thing that is kind of unfortunate, oh, it looks like you do trade somebody, so that's not bad. But one thing that's kind of unfortunate is that like I feel like oftentimes we're at a deficit. It's always like a 4v5 or something like that. I really would like to see you guys buddy system this a little bit more. This hard rotate worries me a little bit because you've always had somebody like A, or like they've always had somebody on A, and they kind of lurk up and then really just catches you guys off guard.
No.
One mid. See, Viper, you're like running to help B, and then you run back. And then you run back. And then now you run back again. Like, you're just kind of in this position where you're not helpful. No offense. You know, like I kind of understand what you're trying to do. It's like you're thinking like, oh, maybe it's not B, maybe it's actually A, so you're running back A, but then it's B, and then, you know, like now the Killjoy thing goes off, so now you're like, oh shit, I gotta run B. It's just really awkward, you know. It's just a little awkward.
Spike
Your Jet's going for a hero play. That's okay, you know. Like I understand your Jet, you know, trying to salvage this round, and hey, your Jet turns it into a 2v3, which is
Killjoy at 78.
definitely possible.
Spike planted.
But what worries me, Viper, you're going for a solo play. Like your Sage is not with you. I don't know if you're calling for your Sage to come with you, but your Sage is not coming with you. Your Sage is just letting go of heaven, just completely letting go of heaven. Yeah,
Right,
Viper,
right.
you're going for a hero play. Sometimes you have to. Oh, nice kill.
Nice.
So at this point, Viper, you gotta slow down a little bit. You gotta wait for your Sage. Gotta push this with your Sage.
There's gonna be.
Last player standing.
If you hear that, Viper, you gotta kill him. Like, you know, if you hear that it's there, like there's no point tapping. Like if it's early enough, you can tap it, but you have to just like you just have to kill them, you know. Especially if you hear it. If she pops it before you can kill them, it's fine. But at this point, it's like you heard that it was there. She popped one, and you could have shot out the other one. But that's okay.
That's right.
Did we have a wall? Did we? We could have used a Sage wall for a retake. No, we used it be heaven. Never mind.
Ones where it's up here, here.
Yeah. You just bait it out and see. Like if we
They're
hit
just
shit, we go.
listen for it.
Yeah.
I can wall across if we go this way.
I don't like that wall. I know the wall she's talking about. That Sage wall from here to here. I actually hate that wall. I notice that in lower elo, everyone seems to think this is like the good wall. I actually, on a personal level, I hate the wall, especially if you have a Viper. You know, your Viper blocks all that vision anyways, so I don't see a reason to do it. I feel like you can basically wall off. Oh, I realize you guys don't have a smoker. You guys can basically wall off like heaven. Where's heaven at? This is heaven? Yeah, so you guys can wall off heaven. I feel like maybe you could use the Viper smoke, in my opinion. Use the Viper smoke here to block that vision. That way you guys can clear sight, like, you can clear close left, you know, and then you clear, like, back left. You can basically raise nade that, and then you guys can swarm onto sight this way. And then you guys basically just need to clear, like, this kind of close area, and then you can Sage Wall CT. So you Sage Wall CT, and then Viper Wall goes down, and then at that point is when you focus on heaven, and then you maybe focus on the side of the pillar, or maybe you have a sky flash. Wait, you guys have a sky? Yeah, you guys have a sky. So you guys flash through this way. You know, like it. I feel like it's more of how I think 100 Thieves. I think 100 Thieves runs your comp or something similar to it. But yeah, usually they have like Sky going through this way, and then you can have like Jet dash out this way, Raze nades this, and then blast packs behind her. You guys are checking close left at the same time, and then you guys can kind of swarm onto sight. And so you're able to flash this, which kind of gives you information, like if you need to be aware of hell, or if you need to be aware of like CT or just behind pillar. Because if you're walling heaven, the people in heaven aren't going to be flashed. So, you know, so if your bird says blinded, then you know that they're like on site. You know they're hell, or they're going to be behind pillar, or they're going to be like near CT. And at that point, you can basically jump in, wall off CT instead, and then you own a lot more of the site. That wall right here just worries me a little bit because like they could just be hiding, like the opponents can just be like hiding all up in this area, and then you end up like kind of losing a wall. You end up losing a Sage wall, which wasn't really necessary. You know, it doesn't shut down a lane. You know, you end up wasting the wall to enter rather than just like using the wall for preventing a retake. I don't know. Something to kind of keep in mind.
Astra.
Bomb buddy out.
They're gonna see all of us.
No, yeah.
I like that you guys tried to shoot it out.
One more up now.
I'm glad that
Every ability.
you guys at least tried to.
Reloading.
Enemy kill.
Nice. Somebody was just going up the rope, it sounded like.
Blocking sight.
Enemy spotted. Buried.
You go. You go on that.
Can you heal me quick?
One more up now.
One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Toxins going up. Light planted. Toxin screen down.
I got nobody coming through CT. Coming up. I'm going up.
Beautiful.
You guys seem to play with you guys seem to do pistol rounds pretty good, which is great. I would like to see you guys honestly just play like that with when you guys have normal guns.
Ooh, Sheriff. Sheriff is all.
I'm rush A.
Yeah, yeah.
Please.
Party's
Who's
over.
this? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going screens.
Going down ramp.
One enemy remaining.
Leaving you hanging there.
Nah, it actually worked out because when I ran away from the jet, she didn't expect you to be up there.
Wait, did you guys lose your bonus round? What just happened here?
Thank you.
I got nobody. Somebody.
Oh no, it was
I'm
it was
on my bullshit.
5-7
Time
first
out.
half. Nice.
Back ahead.
This is an eco round. I'm not going to review this.
We both.
Now we can play this sword. You bait out util, so just gotta shoot that KO knife, or only they get like a few people tagged by it.
Think they ego peek this?
I don't know.
Yep, she got a good shot.
Healing over here.
Oh shit! Oh, there's that.
Heal. Ease.
Healing over here.
I got you. I got
That
you.
works. That works.
I just had to wait for my shit to come back.
Hawk out.
Backside.
Blinding. Reloading.
Spike down. B.
Ah, there's just something.
Wait for a second.
You guys are gonna get pinched probably.
Notice how you guys are splitting up.
Last player standing.
Fuck, I missed.
Yeah, gotta just
My
fight the
bad.
same thing, peek the same thing, fight the same thing. At least get one,
It's fucking
right?
Us. That's why we're losing.
There's a turret on
You should have
side.
checked that corner. Yeah. You got time to let this thing go down.
I'm rotating back to you guys. Okay,
One's male.
Enemy spotted mid. Healing you. Hawk out.
let's push off that.
Alright, I'm running.
Damn it, Killjoy's at the top. Hit
Enemy
40 as
spotted
well.
A. Headshot.
Good trade. See, what I worry about is that like you guys like almost made it out and then you guys ran back. Oh, nice
Nice.
kill.
Skill.
Okay, so at this point you know that Astra's here. Or actually you don't actually know if Astra's here, but you know that one person was here.
One more.
Still up there.
One enemy remaining.
Nice kill. Sage, you gotta get onto site. Get onto site here.
Play
He's the
together.
big player.
Nice.
Poison's off.
He's breaking wall right now.
Okay, so you know he's here. Honestly, at this point, because you slowed him down, I would basically peek that. Because at this point, if you guys wait to peek him, he could go ramp and or like you end up having to watch 3 angles. You end up having to watch like potentially main, potentially heaven, potentially screens. Because he could walk that whole thing.
Oh. Oh no!
But you guys are
This
letting
is my
go.
graphics card something. I don't know.
Okay, so Sage
Please.
crashes.
Technical
Please
timeout.
don't.
See, your KO, like he's knifing up ramp, so he thinks that you guys might be heaven.
So
And
the screen's entirely black. Hold on.
No.
1v1, we got this.
He doesn't know that it's a one.
He was just saving it anyway.
Nice.
Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful. He just gave it to us. Love it.
Ooh.
Oh,
Just
what
ran.
a what a escape.
So
Can we?
I'm gonna have to exit off the game and then join back in. I think it won't kick me off of
Yeah.
the match, right?
How do we do the? Do I just hit timeout?
She's doing it. She's doing it.
Oh, did you guys use a? Okay, you guys use a tactical pause. Don't you?
Yeah,
So
50 seconds.
when you guys have an issue like this, don't use a
Oh my
tac
God, that's
pause.
not
Use
enough
a
time.
tech pause.
Nah, we could-
Yeah.
I
So a
think
tactical
we
pause
should
is like
6
1 minute for you guys to discuss like strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I might have to restart the entire thing.
Yeah, you definitely do, bro.
No, the entire computer. Yeah. So just restarting.
So if you can, try not to waste your tac pause on that. You guys should use your tac pause. I actually forgot to mention it, but you guys should be trying to use your tactical pause when you guys are finding yourself like kind of not winning rounds. Like if you guys are losing rounds, you shouldn't be losing. So just kind of a way to like regroup and come up with an idea, come up with a strat. Maybe IGL. This is when you can give your team a pep talk, that kind of thing.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's freaking weird.
Broken.
It goes negative. I've never seen that.
Oh, it's back.
I literally don't even know how to.
Oh, it's back.
Is she back yet? Okay.
I could see the taskbar. Couldn't see anything.
We're back. Oh, well.
Thank you.
They probably heard that.
Bomb buddy out.
It's
Um,
35.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh no. Nice trade.
Fuck.
Wait, why don't you have your orb? What's going on here?
We're back.
Oh,
Yeah, why don't you have anything?
Yeah, you definitely.
Love it. What a.
computer.
Did you not buy it?
See
Or
any?
did you just completely forget to
Not
buy?
doing too hot.
For sure.
Okay. I was gonna say like as you're making what happened? As you're making your way up, you could just
It's weird. I could.
basically smoke off ropes. Should be able to gain control of B Heaven pretty easily.
Bomb buddy out.
Drop the spike.
Hawk out.
They probably heard that.
Bomb buddy out.
It's 35.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh no. Nice trade.
Fuck.
I got the spike.
Good fight.
Okay, I like this. You guys are going together. Sage, you're a little behind.
Blocking sight.
When we're too far behind, it ends up being a little baity. So it's just a little far behind.
Alright, time
Dash
enter.
forward. The
Nice.
ADS
Nice.
almost
Nice.
kills you, but that Killjoy whiffs.
Where was she?
And male.
Oh,
Fuck, it was
Yeah, it's both of them there.
We got.
Yeah. What's our money? Our money is. Oh,
Not great.
Raze, how are you buying? What the heck? What are you guys doing with your money? Okay, remember, wait, what is this, round 4? I guess this is round 4.
We got 5.
Very bad.
Yeah, your guys' money is a little thrown off.
Stay safe.
One swung from male, one from
Hawk
Rose. The
out.
shit.
I have the spike.
Enemy spotted B.
Oh. Swung on me
Oh,
heavy.
turrets. I whiff.
Oh.
Swung on me heavy.
One swung from male, one from Rose.
You push.
Last player
Oh
standing.
god.
Spike down mid.
Fuck.
Okay, Sage, you were in a position to help, but then now I see you're not. What happened here?
You push.
See, Sage, you. Wait, what happened? Why are you facing that way?
Oh.
Swung on me heavy.
So it's like, so Sage, look, see, look, you're here to support mid,
One swung from male, one from Rose.
and then your jet arrives to help, and so you
You push.
let go. So like your jet engages, and then you let go that angle. You're kind of like worried about a flank, but I think that you have like a known immediate threat rather than like a flank, which is kind of like an unknown threat. Like you don't actually know if you're being flanked. And or like it's not confirmed, right? Like the flank isn't there yet, so like you're not fighting, you're not in an engagement, but like your Viper, your jet and your Viper, right, or like they're kind of like being pretty heavy aggressed mid,
God.
Spike down mid.
and then you say, oh god, because you realize you're now in a 1v5. Yeah, so it's just a little rough. That's a rough round. It was a save round. It's fine. But yeah, we just we just want to basically remember that we are not playing for ourselves, but we're playing for our teammates, and so we just want to always be there for our teammates. And so we want to try to not catch ourselves in these situations if we can help it. And that, to me, it was a situation where you decided that flank was the concern because Jet had let go of like a B main push. And you were right in the sense that you were eventually pushed B main, but the timing of it, you chose to stop helping your Viper because your Jet arrived. That is the timing thing that I'm kind of talking about, where you guys keep getting caught off guard. And what happens is that, like, because of the angle, right, like your Jet had to fight solo, then your Viper, you made a valiant effort to try to make that trade, like you immediately swung. But during that, Sage, you had diverted your focus into a threat that has not come yet, and you weren't focused on, those mid guys. You guys were saving. I don't really think you guys would have won that anyways, but you guys could have, especially if you guys were like all focused and all like being like able to take that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a little rough, but it's okay.
Sorry.
Save rounds, I won't focus too much on that. Not too worried about whiffs and stuff like that. It's really just decision making.
Yeah, I got
That's
smoke,
my
man.
concern.
And then dash out.
I'm gonna dash and smoke. I will flash into sight.
Cool.
Find the weak point.
You can toss it here. So just wait a second. Make sure that this isn't a suck for her.
Yeah. Yeah. She might suck for her.
Yep.
Hawk out.
Alright. Nobody got hit by that, but Killjoy's
Oh.
your stuff.
Oh no! What was I slow by?
You should run.
Do we want to rotate?
Toxin screen down.
Hawk out.
Oh,
KO's still,
117.
KO's
KO's
still
over
on
here.
site. Raised was ropes area.
117 raised ropes.
Yep.
It worries me that you have Spike alone in mid.
Yeah,
But
I know.
if you guys time this
Still
right, this can work.
She's coming by.
30 seconds left.
Yep.
He's
Here.
still over here. I can shoot and you can. Oh,
Finished.
nice.
10 seconds left.
Heal
Swing
yourself.
heaven, yeah.
Player
Shit.
standing.
Oh no.
Fuck, I panicked.
Almost. Almost. I like planting there, how you plant it in the open. I prefer that actually over planting in the corner. I think that we had the read that like the Raze was vents, and I know it was the Astra who killed you. Oh wait, where'd the Raze go? Oh, did you kill the Raze? Good job. Yeah, looks like you did. I'd say that like you have two possibilities, right? They either flank. Well, actually, I guess it's three. Like they could come CT, they could flank, they can come heaven. I think that in a clutch situation where it's like a 2v3, 2v2, it's just a little rough. Like you kind of have zero information. You don't have smokes. You have nothing. I think that you should take the liberty to plant safe and just plant behind the little box because you can't get shot from heaven. You can't get shot from CT and you can't get shot from main. That's why they call it a default. And that's why everybody plants there is because it's like the safest spot to as far as like planting goes. It's just hard to defend that spot. But it is like the safest spot.
He's
Here.
still over here. I can shoot and you can. Oh,
I don't like this wall bang play personally. I think that we could just get the flash to be a little bit more perfect and then wide swing that.
10 seconds left.
Could swing heaven, yeah.
Player
Shit.
standing.
Oh, it's rough.
Okay, I'll half by.
Okay. Bye.
So it looks like you guys are opting to force up here. I think it's the right call. I probably would too. I'm wondering, Sage, why you have a Ares. I feel like everybody had guns on this round. Maybe not. I don't know. But you guys, you have an Ares, and so it sounds like you guys are kind of saving a little bit. Okay, let me go back a little bit. Okay, so you guys force up here because it's going to be round 10 for them, or it's going to be match point for them, actually. So you guys are going to force up to try to prevent that.
And you shall receive.
Okay, I'll half by.
Okay. Bye. Watch for his knife. If he throws his knife, just stay back. Actually, just stay back. Oh, never mind.
It's
Rick
kill.
Got it.
Yeah,
Alright,
push
hold
off
on,
that,
hold on,
push
don't
off
look
that.
yet. I'm gonna
I
cash
can.
out.
Hawk out.
I can.
Yep. And then I'm doing this as well.
Oh shit.
Ground biter is down.
Ah, no.
down.
Heaven, heaven.
Nice.
Ow.
Nice kill. There's another one up that way.
Player standing.
Shit.
There's one up on.
So, not trying to pick on you, Sage, but
I can.
your entire team's like out.
And then I'm doing this as well.
Oh shit.
Says Sage, it's like you're backing up, you back up, your Raze is trying to push in to help your
Ah, no.
team. Sage, you kind of push forward, but then you stop,
Nice kill.
and then you back up, and then you peek a little bit, and then you back up.
Shit.
So it's like perspective-wise, it kind of just looks like you're kind of just watching your teammates die at this point.
There's one up on.
You have res.
So at this point, we back up, and so this gives their Killjoy time to rotate
Yeah.
in. Yeah, so now their Killjoy's out. Now
Man,
it's
that sucks.
it's a bummer.
Perfect.
Okay, so now you guys have zero money. I'm assuming.
I don't know if we've done that.
Okay.
Just don't.
What did your Sage call?
Fuck.
Maybe we should split and just try and get picks. I don't know if we've done that.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Sage, how come you call that so late? You guys have been losing. We needed somebody to call that
KO likes
early.
to eat.
So your Sage makes a good point, right? Like, you guys have been like trying these executes, it's not working. I think that your Sage is right, that you guys maybe just need to play slow, try to get a pick, and then you can kind of redecide where is the most advantageous place to push.
Go pay.
Yep. I'm just staying back. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for its knife.
Just don't. Yeah, I'll hide over here and you can hide.
Oh my
there.
god!
Just wait a second.
So I'm assuming it's you. My boy says like that they like to ego peek, and so that you're gonna like sit back, and then you get ego peeked and you die. Yeah. I'd say that that's just a prime example of mistake after mistake, because I know that sometimes you guys have beat that ego peak, but like this jet just walks out on you, you know. And so you got Sky, yeah, you got the flashes and everything.
Let's see if
What?
there's something this way.
At this point, I think your Sage, yeah, your Sage has the ult. I think at this point we try to play off that. I think we gotta get our numbers up, because no offense, but like against this team, like a 4v5, it's pretty rough. You know, I'd say that like in a 5v5, I definitely believe you can do it. Like, you guys got 8 rounds on them. You guys can definitely do this. But here, right? Your Raze is now like trying to clear B main alone. Your Jet, I don't know. Jet, you're literally just watching your Raze. You're not controlling mid or anything, you know. I'd say at this point, F mid, go help your Raze.
Jet off.
See, peeks it alone.
Yeah, they have the
And
spike.
then
Do they
now what's
know
gonna
that-
happen? Jet, are you gonna peek it alone, or
spike's
what's gonna
over there?
happen?
There.
Okay.
You end up peeking mid, you get traded out. You get a kill, but you know, they get you get traded. Then you guys are walking out, slow walking out, which is I think okay.
Killjoy's on site.
So they saw you.
Okay, so now Killjoy has the read that you guys are going vents. It's a little scary. If I were you guys, I would actually bum rush the Killjoy.
One's still mid. Hard feed.
See, you guys split up a little bit here, a little awkward. So what I would do is I would make noise in vents, and then I would bum rush the Killjoy. It seems kind of clear that the Killjoy is alone at this point. See, the thing is like the Killjoy has told them that where you are. The Killjoy has a setup on A, so if you guys go A main, she'll know about it. And then she's probably sitting screens, kind of watching the crosshair, like to make sure that you guys don't flank CT on her teammates. And so, because the Sage is, or the Killjoy is probably like right there, you know, and her vision cone's like that way. And so she's kind of looking that way to make sure you guys don't flank this way. And so to her, it's you know, it's pretty obvious. And so she's probably telling her teammates like, hey, like they're going vents. You know, I saw both of them. They're going vents. And then you guys proceed to go vents. I would bum rush that Killjoy, try to turn it into a 2v3. And then you guys attempt to go for a hero play in mid in order to get a res off. Like, I think that is the most important. Nice kill. See, this is great. This is winnable. Look at you guys.
Probably holding spike.
Oh my god, Viper. Pull your freaking gun out. Shit, this is up here. Jump peek it, jump peek it. Oh shit.
Oh, shit.
Sage, don't back up, don't back up.
Oh,
Oh no.
Oh my
not
god.
yet.
That's a good kill.
Nice.
You
30
do have
seconds
res.
left.
Okay, here's one thing that I want to talk about.
Probably
Viper,
holding
look at this. Look at this aggro gameplay.
Oh,
I feel like throughout this entire match you've never done this. But suddenly when it feels like it's unwinnable, suddenly you're like going freaking hardcore.
You just gotta hold W key and go wherever you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like now you're getting pretty now you're getting like aggressive with it, right? Like imagine if you did this like while your teammates were all alive, right? And while your teammates were with you and while your teammates are doing the same thing, you know? And this goes to everybody, you know? It's like I see in low elo all the time that you guys don't play aggressive until you guys are the last one alive. Like, because the thing is, like, when you're in a 1v2, 1v3, 1v4, 1v5 situation, right? When the odds are against you, you have no problem just running out there, right? Because if you die, they cannot blame you. Like your teammates won't blame you because it was like an unwinnable situation in theory, right? That's one of the problems I see is that like people play so slow and so scared for their lives, and then the moment it basically seems unwinnable is when like suddenly they're like super aggressive. They run around like it's deathmatch, you know, and they're just out there getting kills and getting their little clip for their stream. But it's always like why don't you do that while your teammate's alive? Like why do you do that when you're alone, you know? Viper, like that alone shows like how capable you really are. You know, you're clearly capable, you know, playing aggressively and, you know, but I think what we need to work on is timing. You know, it's like I feel like we could have used that several rounds before. Yeah, and it was just like you were kind of just pushing alone and just out there just getting kills, and it kind of worked, you know, and it's like you got 2 kills on 2 people who were literally expecting you, you know? Like, did you see how hard Astra was freaking aiming in on ropes? And then the Raze literally knows you're coming because your Astra is like, oh shit, they're vents, you know? So the Astra literally knows and is telling the Raze, and the Raze, I don't know what happened. The Raze didn't even hit you. And I feel like it was because of the speed and the aggression that you decided to play right there. This is what worries me here is that you like we have the information here right here. We have the information that the Jet's here. You expect her, not there. And then like this is the spike, right? Like if she's not B main, then she's gonna be in our spawn. Like, you know, she literally basically only has 2 options. Like she could be ego peeking it from like right here, like out in the open. But you know, I think it's I mean, because you're swinging it and you've cleared that like just from walking out there, like, and if she's not peeking you B main, then it's kind of obvious that she's probably going to be in her spawn because she has to hold the spike. Like that's like, you know, her thing. So instead of jump peeking it, and that's something I want you guys to learn, jump peeking, it's pretty important, especially in this elo, because like in this elo, they, you know, nobody can hit anybody jump peeking because it's too fast. This right here that I want for us to talk about. So the mistake that I see here is that Viper, you decided to go aggressive. Like, I guess you decided to go aggressive when we needed it, but I feel like there was a lot of times during this match where we needed it and you didn't do that, right? You're playing just a little bit slow. Here, it's like you're clearing for your team, and yeah. So at this point, it's like Sage, you see this? Sage, you slow and then you back up, right? So you guys are just on different pages here, right? Like Jet is thinking ambush, you know, ambush this guy. And then Sage, you're thinking like, you know, we need to back up away from this guy. So just, we just have a little bit of difference in, you know, what our protocol is and like what we're going to do. Like if this happens, this is what we do. And so I think that's where the comms need to come up, where it's like, hey, if you think that the play is like we need to ambush this chick, then, you know, call it, right? Jet, like you need to call it so that way your Sage knows what to do. I feel like oftentimes like you guys go quiet. You guys either go quiet or you guys say comms that don't really matter. Yeah, that's something that I feel like I noticed is that like sometimes you guys calm things that literally don't actually matter, you know, calming something like there's a Killjoy turret here. It's like, okay, you know, I mean, sure, Killjoy's basically always played A every time, every round. So, you know, it's not too much of a surprise. But I think like new information, vital information, you know, is important, and so I think that's what we should be calming a little bit more. That kind of thing is kind of just like something that comes into mind, and trading and just being able to play off your teammates. It's unfortunate that this Jet got a couple aces on you guys. And hey, you know, one thing I'll tell you about the Noober Boomer division is that there's a few Smurfs in this division, you know, and I'm not just saying that. Like, I literally know they are, you know. And so, you know, I know it's kind of unfortunate, and I'm not saying that this person's a Smurf. Like, keep that in mind. I'm not saying that this person is a Smurf because I don't actually know who they are. But I know that there are Smurfs in the Noober Boomer division, and it's unfortunate. Sadly, we just don't really have a solid method of kind of enforcing that, because sadly everybody's a liar, and so you know, sadly we just don't really have a solid way of enforcing that. But truth is, for season 3, hopefully things will change, because this is the second season of the Boomerins League, and so hopefully for the 3rd season we can kind of clear some of that up, and kind of push people out into the ranks and into the division that they should be in. Yeah, I think in this case, like, this Jet seems honestly pretty skilled. Several headshots on you guys, getting aces, like, you know, catching you guys in mistakes pretty often. I think that as a whole, you know, working on our aim and our gun mechanics and movement mechanics, that's like huge, right? That's something we all need to practice all the time, no matter what. The next thing you guys need to practice is, I really want you guys to practice buddy system. And when you go for a play, to include somebody with that. You know, don't go for a hero play alone all the time. You know, Raze, I feel like you did that quite a bit, you know, like with your rocket. I want you to time that with the teammate, especially like teammate it with your Sky. Jet, same thing. Like, you know, work with your Sky on a certain play. Like, hey, if it's a save round and you have your knives, or you have enough to buy like a judge or something, like, you guys can gamble something. Like, just gamble that they're going to be B main, or gamble they're going to be mid, and just, you know, dog out, flash, and jet dash it. You know, go for those plays. I think on save rounds it's worth it, because save rounds are weird, because save rounds are totally winnable, but they're kind of not expected. You know, it's like you kind of like don't need to win those, but you just want to do some economic damage, right? You just want to take some guns away from the opponents. And, you know, you're not necessarily expected to win those. You just got to, you know, cause some kind of impact. And if you can flash them and dash on them and just get one of them or two of them with the judge, like, I mean, you know how easy it is to use the judge, you know. Next to that, your guys' economy, I feel like, was a little bit thrown off, and I think that maybe your guys' morale was down a little bit, you know, once you guys switched sides and you guys weren't really able to gain too much traction on attack. That is something that, you know, one, we need to not bring our morale down. Like, we need to stay positive and, like, remember, like, every single round is like a new round. Just because they won the last round, as long as you guys have money, like, you guys have, it's like a brand new start every single round. So you guys need to mentally reset after every round. Next to that, I want you guys to think about your positioning and really just think about, like, what you're giving up in order to do whatever other thing you're trying to do. You know, for instance, like, you know, like, you're understand, like, that, like, hey, if you're gonna go support mid, you know, like, understand you're letting go of A, you know, and when you come back to A, you know, because of that rotate, because if you realize this team made you guys over rotate all the time, you know that, like, you know, of where the opponents could be, because you chose to let go of a certain sight line. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm just going to end it here because we're like an hour and 45 minutes in. So this VOD review is like annoyingly long. But yeah, so if you guys have questions, feel free to hit me up. Thanks.